I could see them doing the X-Men reveals one at a time in the films coming up. So like you say, we might get Rogue in the next Marvels movie, but then we might get Storm in Wakanda appearing. That'd be a good tie-in for her.
Yeah.
Well,
Professor X appearing in Fantastic Four, Wolverine in the up and coming Hulk movie. That's
The Geek Week in Review.
Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in Review with me, Jacob's Toys, of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell, and Ryan Speaks Geek once again. If you are listening on podcast, please do like, share, subscribe, all of those things. And if you're watching on YouTube, again, like, share, subscribe, and check out the description below for these guys' details. If you don't follow them already, make sure you do. So this week is our episode 20. How are you doing this week, gentlemen?
Woo! 20 weeks.
Really good.
It's good. It's good. Right. Well, as it is our 20th week, I thought I'd bring along a little guest. If that's all right with you guys. Bit late now because we've already started recording. But this is a friend of mine that I've known in the geek kind of nerd community for 20 years now. So I thought 20 weeks, 20 years, all that kind of stuff. So I'd like to introduce you to Charles, aka Regeeked on Instagram. Charles, how you doing?
Good, man. Thanks so much for having me today, Jakes.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All the way over from South Africa. I'm not going to do the accent because I won't put it off. I won't put it off.
Let's not start with that. It's a terrible accent.
We won't start like that. So there's been loads going on this week. There's been quite a bit going on this week. What with international? We're going international now. Although we have gone international in previous shows. That's unfair. We have spoke to a couple of our friends over in the States.
A different version of international.
A different version, international in a different direction. But no, there's been loads going on this week. So we had obviously Hasbro had their Plus Premium event, the 1027, which I thought was quite well named because it took place on 27th for the 10th, and that obviously is their address, 1027. So we will get into that a little bit later on, but obviously because there were reveals there, they've been all over the internet and everybody knows what was revealed. So let's get into that a little bit later on in the show and just sort of give everyone our thoughts. So let's talk a little bit more about stuff that's happened immediately. And I think we need to kick it off with a certain trailer that went live a little while ago, actually.
Oh, sorry, I've just realised I was trying to work out why I had square eyes, and I've just worked out it's the laptop screen reflecting my glasses. I was just like, I was going a bit freaked out, like Skynet style or something.
I just did this massive build-up into the Book of Boba Fett, and Ryan just jumps in with squared eyes. So the Book of Boba Fett.
I'm here to kill momentum. That is what I'm here for.
The Book of Boba Fett, Ryan. What did we think?
I've heard it.
What did we
Love
think?
it.
What were our thoughts?
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I want to see more instantly. I don't have to wait till the 29th of December.
It felt very much like The Mandalorian, which in a good way, in a good way for me. Like you could see the similarities and all the rest of it. So I think it's going to be good.
It's a straight continuation.
It seems to carry on, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It had the old school Star Wars feel, which is really important, I think.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Have you seen the leaks? Have you seen the leaks of the Black Series figures that tie in with it?
Yeah, you mean that wave of figures that just devalued the Cantina set instantly?
Straight away, didn't
that
it?
were a bit soon, wasn't it? That were a bit soon.
That really was. But they are doing that at the moment because it was the same. I don't mean to digress a little bit, but it's the same with that Captain America's set that they did.
Yeah.
And that's Worthy Cap and the Sam Cap as well. And straight away that drops the value on both of those. And then obviously they've done it now with the Cantina set. But I mean, no, you can't hold it against them. You got a figure that people want, and you put it out there. You're going to make money, aren't you? But yeah, Book of Boba Fett. So, do you think the trailer gave us enough?
I like the fact that the trailer didn't give us enough. I like that. I want to see it when it comes on TV. I don't want the story told to me in its entirety now. I want it to unfold slowly over the course of however many weeks it runs for. I don't like when trailers give you too much.
And I think too many trailers do give too much now. I mean, there's so many things I've seen where I'm like, when I watch a movie for the first time, I feel like I spend half the time going, that was in the trailer, that was in the trailer, that was in the trailer.
Yeah. Or the opposite sometimes when they throw them scenes in that aren't even in the film.
Yeah.
Like you're waiting for Hulk to run along and it just never shows up.
Just doesn't happen for years.
Because I'm like really excited to see, like it made me question more than it made me think. like, oh, I wonder what we're going to see. I wonder if there's going to be any references to Solo, any references to, Leia, because obviously Leia killed Hutt. She killed Jabba the Hutt. Is the bounty hunters now going after her? It's a continuation of that storyline, technically. So, I mean, I'd love to see what happened after he died. They all escaped. They all went. Boba Fett was been in the Sarlacc pit or whatever, and now he's been running around the galaxy getting his armor and stuff back together. What has been going on in the Hutt kind of clans, and how have they changed? And it's going to be cool to see all that kind of stuff unfold.
Correct. Could we see an old Kira from Solo? Because she would have been the same age. So can we see someone playing an older version of her who's been in the Crimson Dawn the entire time? She might still be in the crime. She might be knocking about. She might make a return.
Yeah, very cool. Correct me though, because this is where my Star Wars knowledge, my timeline knowledge, really does let me down. So, Book of Boba Fett, where is it on the timeline in relation to the movies?
Post Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Force Awakens and stuff.
Yeah, it's before. It's in that time after Return of the Jedi, before Force Awakens, more or less straight after Return of the Jedi, because Luke's still young at this point. He looks like he's fresh out of Return of the Jedi.
Of course he is. Yeah. Oh yeah, because this takes place literally straight
just
after
Mandalorian.
Doesn't it?
He's disappeared, hasn't he, with Shand, and they've gone off, and he's now sat on the throne where Bib Fortuna was. I think it was at the end of that series, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, Luke blew up the Death Star, took a couple of months off for a bit of personal time. Then he's come back, he's like, right, gonna find me some Jedi. Picked up a baby Yoda because he's like, I had an old one of these, nostalgia. I love the little one.
Oh, this is such a throwback.
The exciting stuff is, eventually, we haven't got long before like the birth of Kylo Ren, the birth of Rey. That's all coming up soon, because it's not long until they're going to be growing up and in the galaxy themselves. I mean, Han Solo didn't age that much between the films.
Well, this is where I was kind of going with it, because obviously in the new trilogy, or the modern trilogy, there was that deleted. There was a Jedi training scene, wasn't there, with Leia, and it was her daughter, wasn't it, that what stood in, and they done all the face stuff. So they could potentially do that again for additional scenes of Leia.
Or Harrison Ford might make a sneaky cameo.
Well, yeah. See, I mean, that's the other thing, isn't it? So
he's filming Indiana Jones at the moment, so he's knocking about Disney's sort of.
If I say he's still under contract for Disney and Lucas, he's still in the contract.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It is exciting. My personal highlight of the trailer, though, was right at the end. I think that whole bit about what they were alluding to with the pit and all that kind of stuff, and the badass kind of like just, I can't even do his voice, but the speak freely, it was just so cool. How cool would it be though if instead of a Rancor, he's got like a Sarlacc pit underneath the thing? Like, how full circle would that be? That he's just got a Sarlacc, and that's where he feeds people.
Or he shuts people down, and it's a Rancor, and it's like this big. It's like, unfortunately, they do take a long time to grow, but you could stay there for a while. He will bite your ankles, and that will get annoying after a while. I promise.
Oh, right. I love that. I love the voices. That's true. It is true. Do you reckon it'll tie into like what we've seen in the animation? With like, obviously, we've had like Clone Wars and Bad Batch and stuff. Do you think there'll be any references or tie-ins at all?
I think there'll be talks of Cad Bane. I think he might not be in it, but they'll talk about him as like one of the best bounty hunters. I think you've got all those crime syndicates. I can't see why Black Sun, couldn't be in there with like the Prince Shizu stuff that they did in Clone Wars. I mean, there's just so many, even maybe a little cheeky Vizago cameo from Rebels, or even Hondo.
I'm about to say, I would love a live action Hondo appearance. That would make it for me.
Yeah. See, I'd love Cad Bane.
Yeah, especially if they still had him voiced as well by, I always forget the guy's name. He's a legend at Disney, but it would be cool to see him reprise the voice. Just like an end of season 1 kind of thing. Like he just rocks up with Millennium Falcon or something.
That'd be pretty cool.
The ship I stole.
Like, how cool would it be? The Millennium Falcon's coming down. Boba Fett stood there like, finally. He finally gets to get revenge on Solo, and Hondo pops out. Hey, Boba, my boy.
Sorry, my friend, not today.
There you go. We've just written the book of Boba Fett. Done.
Solo's in another castle.
This is Mario all over again.
So speaking of Star Wars, Sorrell, what was the other bit of news?
So Lucasfilm, again, I think this is going to be something that will be announced at the Disney Plus event, but it's very much confirmed at this point. It's been on a lot of different Star Wars podcasts today that Maul is getting a TV series coming out of the animation department. So it's going to be done by Dave Filoni and the guys that have been doing Bad Batch. And they're continuing the story of Crimson Dawn, which again ties into Boba Fett. It all comes full circle. So we're going to be seeing the continuation of the Solo story. So hopefully Paul Bettany might return as that weird character that I always forget his name. Voss.
Dryden Voss.
And then of
course, it was originally meant to be a big lion, and then when they recast, they did it as a human.
So obviously Paul Bettany is very much in there with Disney and Marvel and Star Wars and stuff, so it wouldn't take much to get him to come back, I don't think. And Emilia Clarke as well. It'd be cool if she came on for doing her voice for her character.
Yeah.
And yeah,
that is cool.
We'll see where that goes.
I was a big fan of Solo. I'm not going to lie. I really enjoyed the Solo film. I thought there was a lot of good characters. Awesome. Yeah, there was a lot of good characters. There was a lot of good kind of storytelling in it and that. And I don't think it quite gets the kind of credit it deserves, in my opinion.
One of the biggest problems with it was the release schedule for it. So they almost had a thing where Star Wars was a Christmas tradition, because it started being like you would have sequel film, standalone, sequel, standalone. And then they did this weird thing where they did The Last Jedi, and then they released Solo 6 months afterwards in the summer, around the same time you have one of the big Marvel films out. And then nothing for a year and a half. So why didn't you just keep it at Christmas? Just make Star Wars a Christmas thing that families would go every Christmas to see the new Star Wars. That's why I think they sort of killed it. It's just like you had 6 months after a film that wasn't well received. Last Jedi was not well received at all. And then, you had this one. And the problem is now as well, people don't understand the film industry, because when they hear the word reshoots, they immediately think that something bad has happened. But reshoots have been happening since Casablanca, for God's sake.
Yeah,
but
I think a lot of it had to do with that reshoot schedule for the Solo movie, because after that, apparently all the screenings and that, everyone was just hating it, and because of the backlash of The Last Jedi, I think they just were basically trying to shut down that entire series, weren't they? They just didn't want to make the movies anymore because it was going to cost them more than they thought that they were going to get back into it.
Yeah, I often think that if it came out now or was rumored now that they were going to make that, I think it would have been a TV series on Disney Plus at this point.
Oh, 100%.
It was in that time period where Disney Plus didn't yet fully exist. They weren't sure what was happening with the future of Star Wars. Like now, it's all the TV stuff and it's doing really well. It's come back on it. It's doing really well now. But I think if they'd have made that into a Disney Plus TV rather than that film, it might have been a little bit more well received, I think.
I would still quite like a Solo series. I mean, we're getting that Lando series. I mean, I don't know if it's live action or not, but I can't see why, because he's still contracted to do, it was 3 films. I can't see why that can't be, why not just 2 made for TV Disney Plus movies?
Oh, that contract will still be in place. Disney are sods with their contracts. I mean, how long did they keep Nicolas Cage under contract for? Those films were awful.
It's it'll
be the Sorcerer's Apprentice, for God's sake. That was awful.
I like being in movies, Gary.
It'll be
still the Declaration of Independence.
A proper thing. Mate, you know me and Nicolas Cage. Don't go there.
National Treasure 3. No, it's all right. We should be in the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Like what?
So there was
another National Treasure.
So there was 2 rumors. There was a rumor that there was 2 trailers coming out like today, and obviously one of them we all knew was going to be the Book of Boba Fett. And then there was a big rumor that another one was coming from Sony. So obviously the internet went wild, and everyone was going, "No Way Home," and all the rest of it. But it's not No Way Home. It was going to be, and it is the Morbius film. So they've shown us a teaser today, where the actual full trailer comes out the day after. So we got to see that, and it had a few extra scenes, a few extra bits. Did you guys catch that? Did you see it?
I totally forgot about it until you said on our chat about they might be dropping the Morbius trailer. I was like, oh yeah, there's a Morbius film. Totally forgot about it. Totally forgot.
Yeah.
It's Sony dropped a vignette, didn't there, about who is Morbius? Did you see that?
That was the one, wasn't it? What's his name talking, and his whole little chat at the end with the web of opportunity. It's like, come on, you only need to say the word web with
a helmet again.
So you know what though, I quite like him. I'm not gonna lie, I quite like him as an actor and whatnot. But the Morbius character for me, like the Spider-Man the animated series, is for me put Morbius in my in my targets. Like he was in and out of the comic books, but he wasn't really a character that I kind of focused too much when I was reading the comic books when I was younger. And then the animated series came out in, what was it, 94, 95, something like that.
Yeah, early 90s.
And all of a sudden there was this vampire that didn't suck blood and instead drained plasma through his hands. It was all very PC.
That was the stuff of nightmares.
It was all. Well, that's it. That's what I was going to say. It made
scarier
it worse
than a normal vampire.
Yeah, I knew what a vampire was. I'd seen Lost Boys. I knew that they drank your blood and all the rest of it. And then all of a sudden,
great, a new nightmare.
Yeah, even his cartoon vampire with like little mouths in his hand. I was just, that was the thing.
No, it's snake clowns because you put an idea in my head.
But the funny thing is when I think of the animated series, there's honestly kind of like two villains that come to mind instantly when I think of animated series. And correct me if this is wrong, different for you, but Morbius is one of them because he seemed to be such a big storyline with the kind of the virus, and Blade came into it and everything like that. And the other one is Smythe with the Spider Slayers and all the rest of it. And they're the villains that kind of come into my mind when it comes to the animated series. Like, obviously, you've got your classic villains as well. So I'm really pleased personally that they're actually going down and doing this film. And obviously, what they've shown us so far, potentially, I think it's got legs. I think it could do really well.
This could be Marvel's foray into a darker film. I mean, because obviously we all know the running joke is that DC does dark, Marvel does light. You know, that's even when they do the emotional stuff, Marvel's still light. You know, even the color palette's lighter.
Yeah,
Morbius does like the first sort of darker one. Like someone's gone like, you know what? He doesn't need to be bright red. He doesn't. Let's mute it down. Let's go to B&Q, get a color chart, and go for the lower end of the scale.
Yeah,
this is my sports commentary type thing you're going on now.
I completely agree though, but yeah, I mean, I think the trailer's shown us, and obviously there's that tie-in with Vulture as well, which obviously opens up and begs the question, because you know, where is it? Is it in MCU? Is it in the Sony Spider-Verse with the whole Loki?
Well, I mean, now with the you guys have obviously all seen the post-credit scenes for Let There Be Carnage. That is kind of going to blow the whole thing open.
No, we have.
But it's Charles, I mean,
it's not out here in the UK yet. No, it is. It's Samberg.
So I mean, that really makes it exciting, doesn't it? Because now you can actually finally have a full Marvel universe that, even if it's in a multiverse sort of setting, it's really exciting. And you bring up like the old animated series of like Spider-Man and X-Men and all that, and now you can actually start seeing that in the cinematic universe, which is going to be unbelievable. I mean, I'm geeking up big time. My inner kid is going nuts here.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that about that after post-credit scene, because that for me was the kind of final key final piece in the puzzle, because obviously we've got Fantastic Four and X-Men. They've all kind of come back to Marvel. We've obviously got Spider-Man because of the deal. But there was this handful of villains that were sort of still in Sony's pocket and very separate. But obviously that post-credit scene, as you say, just crossed them over. So essentially we've got everybody back under one umbrella. So it'd be interesting to see where they go with it.
Quick random tangent.
Go on.
Speaking of 90s X-Men and stuff, Hot Wheels have done but from the cartoon series, the actual X-Men X-Jet.
Yeah.
The Blackbird.
Yeah, it was the best £1.50 I got way too excited about in a shop. Where, traditionally for children, going in alone as a grown man, going, the X-Jet!
Elbowing a child out the way.
Damn it, Darren.
But I am excited. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is to see how it ties in with the Vulture, to see whether there is something there or whether it's just we're going to throw him in as a cameo just for just to get people to pop. Because you must have heard all those theories about Morbius being in Homecoming and he was in the prison because there just so happens to be another dude with like long black hair walk past the Vulture in the prison, and everyone's now saying that that's Morbius. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see where it goes. What are your thoughts, Sorrell?
So Morbius for me is a massive part of Marvel, because when I grew up, I watched the animated series like you, and then I went to a comic book store and I was looking for Michael Morbius comics, because I was like, I was a naive young kid, didn't know he didn't have his own comic book, but he did. It was called Night Stalkers with Hannibal King. So I got handed that, and then obviously when I was a kid growing up, we got Blade Trinity, which had Ryan Reynolds, now famous Deadpool, as Hannibal King. So I mean, going back, I would love with Blade coming back as well with the new casting. How cool would it be if they brought Ryan Reynolds back now to still play Hannibal King? Keep that witty Hannibal King from Trinity. Bring that into the fold and make a Night Stalkers film. That'd be awesome. Or at least a Midnight Suns with Ghost Rider or something. There's some right possibilities, especially with Doctor Strange and everything they're doing with that character. We could tie it all together quite easily.
Ghost Rider, interestingly enough, is rumored to be in the Multiverse of Madness. Did you know that?
Yep.
And there's even a rumor that they're talking to Cage about playing it.
Oh no!
There's even.
But the thing is, with the variants now, they can just go nuts with this thing, can't they? I mean, they could introduce several different versions of the characters. I mean, and it would work. Maybe not with Cage. Sorry, that was a disaster of a movie. But I mean, with other actors,
technically, they could bring back Cage for an appearance and then strip him of the power and shove it on a different Ghost Rider. Because they already had that version. What's the? Who's the version of Ghost Rider?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Robbie Reyes.
So how cool would it be if they stripped down the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider and throwed it to the Robbie Reyes character?
They did it. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Have you not seen that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode?
I didn't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, mate. Come on, you have watched it. You just wanted to sound like you. They literally do that. You see Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider. But, but you don't.
Actually, it was a good version of him as well that they did in that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I really liked it. But there are a few different Ghost Riders out there, and even Kushala now, like the one that Taboo and BL have written, and the Sorcerer Supreme, and she ties massively into Doctor Strange and everything like that because she's a Sorcerer Supreme and a Ghost Rider. It's an insane comic book, but
that would be cool.
But there's even that opportunity that this Ghost Rider that they're bringing in could be Kushala. So just a massive plug there for that particular book. But do go and read it. For you,
it's me again. Third time's a try.
You know what? I watched Spirit of Vengeance the other day. It was painful, but it was enjoyable because it came out of that time.
That's not a sentence anyone's ever said. It was painful and enjoyable.
It came out in a time when we're sport for choice now with superhero movies and comic book movies, and that came out very much at a time where you kind of had to take what you were given. And going back and watching it now, it's not kind of aged well, but it's still good, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They're guilty pleasures. They're like, you know, they're not good, but they're still fun to watch. There's still some great set pieces in them. And that's the thing. Some of the set pieces are like still definitely worth watching.
Sorry, I just can't get the image of Nicolas Cage screaming at that poor guy outside that club out there. Does that Spirit of Vengeance?
I know.
That guy outside pinned against the wall.
Can
you imagine him doing that to like Peter Parker?
Well,
your head's on fire. How'd that happen? Oh!
Just in any MCU film whatsoever, just having that. I might have to edit that now and put that into an MCU.
every single Marvel film. He's taken over Stan Lee for cameos.
I was going to say they could just take that Stan Lee cameo and run with it, and just do a Nicolas Cage scream. Brilliant.
If he appeared in Spider-Man, he would make that reference. I saw a movie like this once with Nicolas Cage. The reference would come straight out.
100%.
Who's Nick Cage?
Here's a little again, this is completely founded on nothing, but can you imagine with Universal Monsters making a comeback right now? They're making a lot of merchandise. They don't have a film, and the films that they were trying to make, the Dark Universe, died a death.
Oh,
you're telling me if Marvel went to Universal and said, look, we want to use Dracula, Werewolf by Night, and we've got the Moon Knight movie coming out, we've got Morbius, we've got Blade. How cool would it be to have Blade fighting Dracula and have the proper Dracula that we all remember from the comics?
Oh, it'd be insane.
Get Universal on board. Get Werewolf by Night in Moon Knight and have them fighting just like in the comics.
Yeah.
That would be awesome to see the monsters crossing over with Marvel, but it's from the comics. It's not like it's a random idea. It's from the comics.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see those. Well. Werewolf by Night is a very popular character as well. He could do very well in Marvel. And give us that horror, and give us those horror aspects of a darker universe, like Ryan said, that could have it completely different from the Avengers. You've got your regular superhero movies, and then you've got the darker side of Marvel, and they could make some great movies out of that with Ghost Rider, Moon Knight. Doctor Strange can be thrown in there. The Savage Avengers could be eventually built up. It could be.
Oh, mate, that would be incredible. That would be incredible. Well, I hope they kind of go in that direction with Morbius. I hope they don't kind of make it fluffy and all the rest of it. And they didn't with Venom. Let's be honest. The Venom films, they kind of kept, they kept the ratings on those, and they kind of kept them not dark, but they kept them mature.
Well, in the animated series, didn't Morbius have a lot to do with sort of like Spider-Man turning into the big like spider creature thing and stuff like that?
It was genetics, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a big thing they could do with that, with the Marvel universe, and link him in with Lizard and Lizard and all that kind of stuff. They could link him in with so many characters and have him as the Doctor. You know what I mean? That's trying to help them all. Well, science. The villain Morbius and stuff. That could be very cool. Because in the animated series, he like powered down occasionally, didn't he? He didn't always stay like that, if I remember rightly.
When he turned into the man spider.
I'm back in
Morbius. Didn't Morbius do that
Morbius
thing where
he
would like power down, wouldn't he? And turn back into like a human doctor form, and then he'd suddenly go and turn back into his vampire.
Yeah.
I just want to be human again, please.
Yeah. Yep, I did. All right, listen, while we're on the Marvel train, shall we talk about the Marvel stuff coming up? Yeah. All right, let's get through the quiet ones, because Spider-Man's the big one. Let's do the quiet ones first. So Hawkeye is obviously coming out. That comes out November 12th, is it? I think.
Hawkeye Christmas.
It comes out of 2 episodes, so they're launching it with 2 episodes. And did you see that Jeremy Renner dressed up as Hawkeye for Halloween?
Yeah, I did.
That's incredible. That is incredible. His Instagram, where it's just shows a little bit of. That's brilliant. But no, I'm really hyped for it. But I know we've spoken about that in depth, so can't wait for that to happen. Eternals, before we go on to Spider-Man, Eternals obviously drops very soon. However, have you heard the Rotten Tomatoes verdict?
2% did they give it?
60.
Ooh,
do you know what that's worse than?
Not fresh. Then Thor: The Dark World.
Yep, Thor: The Dark World is 66, and Eternals is coming at 60.
But then again, they said this about the Joker movie, and that was absolutely amazing when it came out and was critically acclaimed.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to Rotten Tomatoes myself, but it's definitely a marketing thing, isn't it? When the Rotten Tomatoes review comes out, that's kind of what people base their idea on. But yeah, essentially saying it's the worst MCU film to date. But I think that the reason being is because it's not your typical MCU film. It's very arty. It's very, grounded, even though it's kind of big. It's all about the human aspect of the characters and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited for it. I'm really, really hyped up for it. I can't wait.
Isn't this basically setting up the next however many years of Marvel? Isn't this like the next stepping stone towards what we get like building to?
Yeah. Well, essentially, the idea of it is obviously they're sent to Earth to kill off all the what they call the deviants. I think it is.
Yeah.
And then because of Thanos doing the finger snap, not a dance like the snap, because Thanos did this for a while. Yeah, it did it. Because of the snap, it essentially brought things back, so they have to kind of re-team and kind of defeat them again, and that's where it goes. I won't talk about it if you've not heard it, but did you hear about the spoiler that was given away by one of the reviewers?
Oh, the post-credit scene thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the one whose review was basically just the post-credit scene.
Yeah. Did you hear this, Charles?
I haven't. Do I want to?
I don't.
Okay.
It's up to you. It's up to you.
Are we talking about Thanos' brother, Eros' appearance?
Yeah. So Eros, Thanos' brother, played by none other than One Direction's Harry Styles.
Really? No, you're just joking.
No, I'm not. I'll promise you, serious. I mean,
that's where the finger clicking comes in, isn't it?
No, right.
It comes on.
That's
beautiful.
I'm gonna put this out there, right? I'm not.
How did we do that at the same time, Ryan?
I know.
and in harmony as well.
20 episodes in, that's what happens.
I'm not a big One Direction fan, but I like Harry. I can appreciate Harry Styles. I appreciate his style, his vibe, and the rest of it. And you know what? If you look at the character and you look at him, I think it could work. I'm staying open.
We said this last
Dunkirk,
time.
so.
Yeah, I mean, we said this last time when we were on about Robert Pattinson, and we were sort of saying, he's got to grow up at some point. Harry Styles is the same. He's got to mature and do new things. We've got to respect that. Just because he's from a boy band doesn't mean he's going to be crap at acting. He could be a good lad. I mean, we'll just see what comes out of it.
Yeah.
Mark,
So I think that's
Marky
cool.
Mark and the Funky Bunch. Need I say more?
Exactly.
Need I say more?
Yeah. So the other thing as well is Jim Carrey. The rumor is that he has now been cast as live action MODOK, which I think is awesome. I think if that's true, it's perfect. I think.
I don't think we're going to be getting a comic book accurate MODOK though.
Do you not?
No.
Well,
if you're playing, if it's Jim Carrey, I cannot see, this
a massive
enormous giant head. No,
yeah,
he's scary enough as it is.
But the thing is if you look at MODOK in the comics, and obviously the way he develops into that, doesn't he? Because he kind of starts off as a scientist, and it wasn't a very well received game, but the Avengers game obviously featured MODOK as the main kind of big bad, and he did that in the game, didn't he? Kind of developed from the human form into eventually the kind of machine.
MODOK series,
and then there's the wacky series. Yeah, I mean, have you watched
it?
It's completely nuts, but it's quite good.
It's insane. Yeah, it's total Robot Chicken meets Marvel. Like, it's
exactly.
But I think MODOK
does the voice.
That's it. Yeah. But I think MODOK is. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was actually. But MODOK is like he's a big name at the moment. He's in the game. He's in the animated series. We've not had him in live action before, so I think the AIM organization AIM has been hinted at through various different films and stuff. Was it Iron Man 3, I think, wasn't it, where they talk about AIM? So it's kind of all there. It's all set up. So I think it would really work, and I think Jim Carrey does dark very well. If you've seen any of his kind of darker films, I think he does dark very well. So I'm excited for that. I really am excited. But obviously they're gonna
bring back the Thinker, because I mean they set him up at the end of the Hulk film that no one ever talks about anymore. Yeah, that was the post-credit scene. Is that it drips on his brain and it all starts. And he's an amazing actor. I can't remember what his name is, but he's one of those guys who just appears in everything. You're like, he's always brilliant. But obviously he set him up in that Incredible Hulk film, which I know obviously because it was back when we didn't have Mark, Ruffalo, and we had Ed Norton, man. So we kind of, a lot of people don't talk about it anymore, but now that Abomination's coming back in and Tim Ross is obviously confirmed to be coming back, I'm wondering if the Thinker might now come back, because like they brought stuff back from that film now. They confirmed Betty Ross isn't appearing in the She-Hulk series, like she's not coming back in it. But they have confirmed that obviously General Ross is back, Abomination is back.
Yeah.
So maybe we could actually be seeing the Thinker and MODOK maybe teaming up.
The Thinker would be a great villain for the She-Hulk series. I mean, it's all in line with the Hulk stuff. So I mean, especially with an actor that's that good.
Who is the other one? Doc Samson as well was set up in that one as well. He was in that film, but they didn't obviously do anything with him. So he's a potential one they could bring in as well. But did you see the What If episode where they went back to the Hulk? Which one was it?
Yeah,
and it was
where he kills everybody.
Yeah, that's the one. And it was Mark Ruffalo playing that version of Bruce Banner in that timeline. I thought it was a very clever way of kind of just saying, this is all the same thing. You just remember it differently. Like this all happened to the same people. So that's obviously all the stuff that's going on in Marvel. But let's talk Spider-Man for a bit, because that trailer's going to drop soon, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's got to drop any day now. Now, there was a lot of talk about it being the trailer that went with the Eternals. But then I've also heard that it's supposedly going to drop with Ghostbusters.
Random for it to drop with Ghostbusters.
Well, yeah, it's studios, though,
Sony,
isn't it?
Mm.
Studios.
Sony package.
Yeah, Sony Pictures.
And what way to get? I mean, Ghostbusters is going to do all right on its own anyway. But what a way to really boost up people talking about your film. Put the most anticipated trailer ever in front of it.
I could genuinely imagine people walking out after seeing the Spider-Man trailer for that.
Just going in for the
that's
trailer.
enough for me.
People have done that. I've seen people do that in the past.
Oh yeah, just
go
go into that particular trailer.
It sounds really stupid. I am really looking forward to it, but I'm really I'm reining it in now though for myself, because
Spider-Man.
Because I don't think, the problem is it's almost getting to like mythical proportions people are building this film up to now, and I genuinely think that people might end up being disappointed, and not because of it being a bad film or not being great, but I think the level of what people think is going to be in it versus what is realistically going to be in it is now getting further and further out of proportion, which I know is only good for studios doing that, but I'm genuinely trying to rein myself back in because I don't want to be disappointed even when I'm watching a great movie. I want to watch it and be happy.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my original theory that I've said all along. I do not personally think that there's going to be, if the other guys are in it, the other Spider-Men are in it, I think it's going to be minimal. I don't think they're going to have much to do. And I think it's going to be mainly just, it might be something as small as Doctor Strange opening some portals and you see different Spider-Man universes going off and just like a fight scene in that portal. You'll see like him fighting somebody.
Archive footage.
Yeah, something or something. Maybe they might have done something a little bit new with CGI and just saying, you know, there's a Spider-Man in every universe. You're just this universe of Spider-Man. He shows him all the others, and then we might get a tease of maybe Miles Morales or Spider-Gwen to go along with that to hype fans up. I think that would be more realistic than what people are expecting with full-on Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield fully appearing alongside him.
I'm going to go the other way. I think it's going to be full of fucking everything.
It's a 19-hour movie Jake's going to watch.
And I think we've mentioned it before, Jake. I still honestly think Green Goblin, I think he's going to be in it, but I think it's going to be a voice inside of that, I forgot his name, the kid's head, who's going to be Hobgoblin eventually. Ned. I think it's going to be a voice in his head that leads him to become Hobgoblin. I don't think you'll see a physical embodiment of Green Goblin in this film.
I think, have you not seen the concept art that leaked online of the Green Goblin's costume? So there's concept art of a Green Goblin costume, but again, you don't know how much screen time that's going to be, but it's very reminiscent of the original costume, which is really cool. But again, it's a picture. Like there's no like someone could post it, and you know I could go away and draw one now and say that it's concept art, and people would like, especially with Spider-Man, you post something online, concept art, like film like a grainy picture on your phone and post it, and everyone will share it. But I do think you're onto something. I do think Green Goblin is going to lead into Hobgoblin. I'm going to go the opposite way. I honestly think that they're in this, and I think there's going to be at least one big fight scene that they're all involved in. Just because, you know, when someone tells a lie and it just kind of snowballs out of control, and then all of a sudden it's this huge thing. Unless that's dealt with, obviously there's a huge thing to, you know, huge trouble at the end of it. And I think that these rumors and the talks and all this, it's gone so far. Like this is the most talked about film like ever, as they're saying. And the trailer, for example, was like the most watched trailer, or the highest watched trailer in a short amount of time. And I think for Sony's like well-being, like mental well-being, like if they've not got something really big up their sleeves, they would have had to have shut this down sooner, because it's now just so big that if this isn't living up to certain expectations, like there's going to be certain theories out there that are just way off, but it's not the same as when we were all talking about WandaVision, or when we were all talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like this has gone on too far that they've not even released a poster. Like, do you know what I mean? If you think about it, it comes out next month now. Like we're literally a month away from it coming out, and they've not even released a teaser poster. So everything is kept really secret. So I think if they've not got something really big up their sleeve, they should have shut it down, because otherwise the film will just tank, like massively tank, and essentially just destroy the Sony universe. You know what I mean? It's
the one
You're
thing
very
that...
absolute, Jake. It was either like it's going to have everything or it's going to destroy it all.
No, but I do. I think it's because it's so big now.
Deals in absolutes.
Yeah, well, you know, smooth fuzz. If
they've already kind of said this is going to be the end game for Spider-Man, basically, is why the word is, isn't it? This is Spider-Man's end game. So I mean,
I want to know.
Tobey Maguire, on your left, I'm Spider-Man.
I've got a feeling they're gonna do something that'll basically lock him into that universe. I think I don't think he's gonna have a way back. No Way Home is gonna be
No Way Home
title, because he can't get back.
Yeah,
and that way Sony can spin off with the whole Venom thing, and they can explore the Spider-Verse and leave Avengers alone for a while. And let Spider-Man do his own thing, because there's enough characters there to build its own little universe. Spider-Man's a big thing. They don't need the rest of the Avengers to have good Spider-Man stories. So
no, and also as well, I think when you think about the timeline of it, we had Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, like all these really big Marvel characters building up, developing stories, becoming household names. Everyone knew who Spider-Man was, and then they kind of just injected him in, and he kind of was the little guy against these big names. That was how they played it, wasn't it? Whereas now a lot of them are gone. You know, they're not in the films anymore. They're not in the timelines.
Yep.
They can't. Yeah. But Spider-Man can't carry that. He's not the next Tony Stark. You know, I know they played around with that idea and that lot, but he's not going to lead the next lot of Avengers or anything like that. So they have to have a way of pulling him out of this. And I just think with all the multiverses and the fact that all of his villains kind of live on another island, the whole No Way Home, they're literally saying to us, this is him exiting the MCU. That's my personal opinion. That's what I think is going to happen.
I can see that totally.
Yeah, I do agree. But like, you know, and I hope they do it
10
in a
years
way.
time, and then it's another end game, and he comes back.
Yeah, of course they will.
Joke, but they probably do something like that.
Of course they will. The doors, it's a rotating door. It's not a one-way
End game, and this time it's personal.
End games.
It also depends on how long they want to keep paying, you know, him to keep reprising the role. I mean, eventually it'll cost too much for the studio, surely, to keep it financially viable. How long has he got in him really playing that role? He's already been a part of MCU for quite some time.
What they need to do
loves
now,
playing it so much though.
I know
he
does.
does.
Yeah, he does.
But what they need to do is they need to introduce the Miles,
building
the kind of Spider-Verse and the younger kind of generation,
Gwen Stacy,
so that they can but they could cast a relatively unknown actor as Miles Morales and essentially develop this character, because Miles Morales is Spider-Man. Do you know what I mean? To a lot of people, he is the definitive Spider-Man because of, you know, pop culture and cartoons and comic books and stuff. There are people now that are of the age that they'll go and watch this film.
Well,
but Miles Morales
my
is their
kids
Spider-Man.
are that age. My kids are the generation of kids who think Miles Morales is Spider-Man, not Peter Parker. Peter Parker is the old guy who helps Miles Morales sort of grow into that mantle. But you know, that was their introduction into the Spider-Verse. And when you say to them, no, Peter Parker Spider-Man, they look at you as they're like, no, Peter Parker is like 45 years old. He's you. Like, okay, cool, thanks.
That just made me feel so old. That very short snippet of information. Suddenly, it was just like in my head. I was looking off in the distance, like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend."
But that's what it feels like. Like my daughter's 6 now, and you can say to her, "Oh, do you like Spider-Man?" She says, "Yes, I love Miles," and I'm going, "No, oh shoot," you know. That's just how they interpret Spider-Man now.
Yeah,
well,
no,
Miles is even the leader in the new kids like Disney Junior thing they've made, Spidey and His Amazing Friends. Miles is the main character. It's not Peter. Peter's a side character in the whole thing. Yeah, it's Miles and Gwen are the two new introduction characters for kids.
Well,
how good would it be?
Now they've gone back to what's his name, Ben Reilly, and there's big backlash because they're saying, well, no, Ben Reilly's not Spider-Man, you guys need to change it. It's got to be Miles Morales.
Yeah. How good would it be though if like No Way Home kind of brought back those old Spider-Men? You know, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, they're all together. Can you imagine Topher Grace's Venom versus Tom Holland?
He did the best post about that.
I know, that was superb, wasn't it?
You guys, it was flawless.
The thing is, though, if you watch the post-credit scene from No Way Home, I said this to Jacob, it's like Venom knows Spider-Man but doesn't recognize Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I'm wondering whether that Venom is the same Venom that was with Topher Grace, but has now latched onto another universe's version of, you know, Venom. You know, what do you call him? Tom Hardy's character. You know, it's traveled
Eddie
across.
Brock.
Eddie Brock. It's gone to another Eddie Brock in a different multiverse, and that's why it remembers Spider-Man. How cool would that be?
Does like a little line. It's like, the last guy tasted like the '70s show. Which is getting a sequel series, by the way. That '70s show's getting a sequel series.
Oh, really?
Random TV news.
Is everyone coming back though? Is it going to be like the end of the last one, which was?
No, it's brilliant. It's Kitty and Red. It's set in the '90s, and basically it's Donna and Eric's daughter comes to live with them in the '90s for a week. Like for like a week or two, like for a few months, but it's just basically
that sounds a bit too much like Girl Meets World. I don't know.
Red Foreman is a personal TV hero of mine, so I just want to see more Red Foreman.
Fair enough. So just gone closing in Spider-Man then. So there has been leaks online, descriptions of the costumes. So there's been descriptions of the 3 Spider-Man costumes. But then that was followed up with a photograph. Now I know photographs can be edited and all the rest of it, but there is a photograph floating around the internet that shows the 3 Spider-Man suits like hanging up. So it's I think it's happening. I think we need to just
did you see that the news that it's not on everyone's radar because it's Disney news more than anything, but Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars. Dove Cameron had literally just signed another 10-year deal with Disney, and it's
okay.
Disney and its subsidiary companies, meaning Marvel and Star Wars. Dove Cameron's a big name now. She's growing. She's getting bigger and bigger all the time, and kids know who she is because they were introduced to her through Disney Channel. Could she be the Spider-Gwen for the Marvel universe? Because she would fit the role, and she's been voicing the character in the TV series for kids.
That would be pretty cool. That would be.
I
pretty
can
cool.
see them doing that, and she would look she looks the part. To be fair, she looks like.
I mean, what I would really like from this film, if I was gonna honestly, if I was gonna write it, I don't know how I'd do the storyline, but you'd bring in all these bad guys that they're bringing in, so that we could all kind of go, oh yeah, it's that guy. Oh look, it's him again. And they've said, you know, that the Lizard and Sandman are both confirmed, and they're both being played by the same actors that played the roles before. And interestingly enough, the Rhino is supposedly that 6th member. The Rhino that we saw at the end of Amazing Spider-Man has been confirmed as.
What's his?
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but supposedly he's confirmed.
What about Venom? Where does he come in then? Will he be with Spider-Man fighting alongside him?
I think post-credit maybe, but that's supposedly the Sinister Six, that the lineup that they've got. But the why they haven't shown Rhino in anything doesn't make sense to me, unless that's just a massive red herring that they're throwing out to us. Oh yeah, you know that character that we only just teased you in the other film that no one really liked. Well, that's the one that you're getting in this, but we're not going to show you any pictures. But for me, what would be really good is if you saw all these Spider-Men, they gave us what we wanted. We saw all 3 Spider-Men kind of seen on screen, everything like that, and then open the door up for that next generation so that you'd have the Miles Morales, the Gwen Stacy, all that kind of stuff. Because of the portals and that kind of stuff, there'll be some kind of crossover where Tom Holland's Spider-Man exits and goes to the Sonyverse. The other 2 kind of go back to wherever it was they came from. And then we have that door open for Miles Morales. And then you've got Miles Morales as part of the new Avengers and all that kind of stuff like that. And then we've still got our Spider-Man in the MCU. And that'd be a really sweet deal for Disney and Sony to make. So I tell you what, you can have Miles Morales and do what you want with him. We'll take Peter Parker back. That to me would be really cool.
Avengers film in the works. Am I making it up?
It's not in the works, but a lot of the characters we've now seen a lot of the characters in various different films. So we've seen all of the young Avengers, essentially seen all of the young Avengers in different
Miles Morales,
Ironheart. That'd be brilliant.
The Hawkeye one.
Kate Bishop, she's there already.
Kate Bishop, yeah. The Hawkeye one, the one with the bow and arrow.
Lady Hawk.
So okay, but listen, before we move on from Spider-Man, let's have one theory each. One theory that we're going to see in this next trailer. Why they've held it back so long, just to see, just for fun, just for giggles, see if anyone guesses what we see. Because was it Empire Magazine also released more photos of that bridge scene with Dr. Octopus? So they've shown us a little bit more of that
particular fight. But come on, what are your theories of this next trailer? What are we going to see? I think Doctor Strange has messed with the timeline so much and messed with the natural order of things that Madam Web turns up.
Sorrell just throwing the most out there.
Yeah, no, this is brilliant because then you've got to ask the question: is Doctor Strange, or are we going to get some dark version Mephisto Doctor Strange from that sort of Brand New Day link into the movie? That's what, because I can't see Doctor Strange doing that. That's very out of character for him. So I feel like it's either going to be his character is going to be either possessed by Mephisto, or it's going to be that dark version of Doctor Strange from the What If series.
Just straight out of the comic books, where Mephisto's posing as Doctor Strange. Yeah,
as Doctor
Strange.
I don't
feel like I'm going to have an opinion that's going to be either of those, because mine's going to be boring. Like,
so
I reckon if Tobey Maguire's in it, he's going to cry. That's I've got nothing. No, okay. Something mind blowing. Go on. Give me. Jake, you do one, and then I'll come back to me. I'll think of something mind blowing in the meantime.
I think we're going to see the 3 Spider-Men together in this trailer. That's all I'm. I think that's going to happen, and I think as soon as it does, we'll get a poster and we'll get all that kind of stuff, because I think the reason they're holding it all back is because that's what we're getting in this next trailer.
Do you know what all they would need to do is just use his voice. Just use the voice, hey, can I help? And just not even show him, just have that classic cheesy Peter Parker voice going, hey, can I help? And just have it, and then just as if it's gonna show him, and then just cut off dead.
The screen goes dark and you just hear crying.
Well, they basically did the same thing with the DC trailer, didn't they, for Flash? We all thought we were going to see Keaton, and then they just cut away, and it was like, hey.
The back of his head.
Back of his head. Right. So it was like, dude.
I've got my one shocking theory.
Go
on, Em.
The thing that will be revealed in this trailer is that Aunt May and Happy are living together.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Happy deserves to be happy.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I hope if Tobey Maguire is in it, I hope his entrance is the dance. Like that's how he comes into it. No, shall I tell you what? Okay.
Kill it with fire.
All right. So out of the 3 favorite Spider-Man, which is your favorite?
Andrew Garfield.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. I think Holland does the best sort of Spider-Man and Garfield together, Spider-Man and Peter Parker together. But I mean, Garfield as Spider-Man, that witty, really off-the-cuff stuff that, I mean, Maguire just didn't do. And that actually, one of the reasons I disliked the first movie was because when you went from the comics and Spider-Man is just this witty nut, to Maguire and he has like one joke the whole movie, it was a killer for me. I was like, oh cool, serious Spider-Man, thanks guys.
Yeah, I agree. My thing is that I think Tom Holland's the best Peter Parker, I think Andrew Garfield's the best Spider-Man, and I think Tobey Maguire had the best costume. That's kind of how
Tobey Maguire was also here.
He was the best dancer. So that's my theory, that they're going to be. All right, so Madam Web, Mephisto, all 3 Spider-Men, and Happy being happy. That's
a 19-hour movie.
And I'm Spider-Man.
Oh dear.
Effects budget on this show.
All right, so let's move on, so we can talk about Spider-Man all night. So 12th of December, Disney Plus Day, Disney Plus event. We're going to get a lot dropped. They're going to announce stuff. Anything that you're thinking of, hoping to see, expecting to see? We're just along for the ride.
Andor TV series. Hopefully, we'll get a bit more info on that. Finally,
some concrete dates. I think that's what I would like on some things, so I can actually have something genuinely to look forward to on a specific time of the year.
Yeah, I'd really like to have a Kenobi trailer shown on that, because they've wrapped filming, haven't they? They've finished filming.
Even a little teaser type one would be good.
Yeah.
Him popping up across the sun, going, "Hello there." That would be.
Yeah, because
I'm back and in greater number of episodes.
Correct me if I'm wrong though, but didn't old Kevin have a big old panel for the Marvel stuff at the last Disney Plus event day?
Yeah,
was that
he did a massive spiel about how he's going to expand the universe in television. So obviously we've got She-Hulk still to come, which we've not heard of in a long time. I'm still waiting to see what they do with that. Where all this rumors of bringing, is it Matthew Cox, bringing him back as Daredevil? I'd like to see him appear in the She-Hulk TV series.
Is it Charlie Cox?
No, he is.
Charlie Cox, sorry.
That's been confirmed, hasn't it? I think I read that earlier. He was already confirmed. He's playing a different version of him, though. It's not the one from Netflix. It is playing. He will be Daredevil. He will be.
But it's not the Daredevil from the TV series.
Yeah.
They keep rumoring it. I've not seen it officially from any official source yet. It just keeps getting rumored. But I'd like to see him in She-Hulk as she's the defense attorney, he's the opposition or whatever. I'd like to see that and have them they don't know that each other are superheroes at nighttime kind of thing. That'd be kind of cool.
Both of them share a flat, and it's a wacky adventure. They're 2 crazy roommates.
I really hope we get some trailers. To be fair, I really hope She-Hulk, Kenobi, I'm excited about seeing it, because last time they showed us what was coming up, didn't they? They showed the slate and they kind of announced certain castings and stuff like that. But
I mean,
I'd really like to.
Moon Knight. I was just going to say Moon Knight.
Yeah, we've got Moon Knight.
Is that a series or a movie though?
No, it's a series. Disney Plus.
It's a series. It's Oscar Isaac, isn't it? He's playing whatever the crazy dude's name is, Moon Knight, but Mark Spencer or whatever.
Yeah, he's playing, and there was that leak of his costume, wasn't there? There's a picture that was leaked of his costume, and it looks pretty cool.
It's pretty savage, actually.
Yeah.
Like that.
But yeah, I'm just hoping we get some trailers. That's what we need, because if you think about it, we've got obviously Book of Boba Fett coming in December. We got Spider-Man No Way Home coming in December. We got Hawkeye coming in November. So we need something physical to sort of see and share and speculate about.
A new trailer for the Yaddle spin-off series, the origin story, would be good.
The Yaddle. Right, Ryan's a big Yaddle fan from Star Wars, but I think you need to crowdfund this one, Ryan. I think you just need to set up a GoFundMe.
Ryan's a big Yaddle fan. Who isn't a big Yaddle fan? That's like saying who knows who Peter Parker is? Who knows who Yaddle is? You sound insane right now, man.
It's Ryan's big Yaddle fan. I think I think you should crowdfund it. I think you should write a script, put a GoFundMe up, and get
Ryan Speaks Geek presents Yaddle, the story you didn't ask for, but you're getting.
Do it as a musical. It's a Christmas special. It'll go down in history. All right, so let's
be with you.
Let's talk about some of the other toy news before we get on to the Hasbro stuff. Let's talk about NECA.
Are you cutting me off the Disney Plus thing?
Oh, you're still on that train? Sorry, I thought you were done. Let's get back to the
ways.
It's just we're going right. So Sorrell, come on.
So the other stuff that's still coming to Disney Plus that we've not really heard about for a long time. So you've still got Miss Marvel, a coming of teen drama. That is still to come. Yeah. 6 episodes for that. You've got Andor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Moon Knight, the Willow TV series, Secret Invasion, National Treasure.
Secret Invasion.
Series. Yeah.
National Treasure
and
TV
isn't there
series.
Secret Wars as well?
Series. Ironheart, Ahsoka, the Armor Wars, the Acolytes, the Wakanda TV series, Lando, the Nautilus, and the Crossover, which we don't know what that is yet. It just says the Crossover, still to be announced. So all that is still coming. Nope, they're all on here. They're all listed on the announcement list, and so we've got She-Hulk is still to get a full trailer and to get more information. Baymax by Marvel. So I mean that's a Marvel, not Disney. So they're going to reintroduce Baymax by the sounds of that. That could be interesting.
Jake just doesn't want to hear your thoughts, man. He's just gone again.
Because
Disney Plus.
Baymax obviously was Marvel before Disney took over and made it their own thing. So I mean, how cool would it be to now with the whole multiverse of madness thing, bring Baymax back proper, how he should have been in the comics? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, Stan Lee had his cameo in that still, didn't he?
So yeah, there's so much been announced. So I mean, there's still a lot to come. And I mean, Secret Invasion, I even forgot that. I knew they were building to it, but I forgot that was a thing.
I've got something here about Secret Invasion. You just reminded me of it. I'm gonna ask you a question. Put something to you, right? So, what was it? What film was it? End of Home? No. What was the second Spider-Man film?
Far From Home.
Far From Home. So, end of Far From Home. Obviously, we find out that Nick Fury's up in space, don't we? So he's director of Sword now. And I'm really excited about that. But Sword is obviously going to massively tie into Secret Invasion, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously at the end of WandaVision, we saw Skrull as well. Now, here's the question for you, right? So at the end of the film, at the end of the Spider-Man film, you got Nick Fury and Maria Hill in the car together. Yeah, driving along. Do you know where I'm going with this? Yeah. So driving along in the car together, and then there's Skrull. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we later see that Nick Fury's up in space. So Talos is obviously impersonating Nick Fury. So does Maria Hill exist?
Yeah, Maria Hill's still a person. They're just impersonating her. I'm guessing she's in space with.
But we never saw her in space. Surely you've
she
paid
might have
for
been
her
in the
to be
bathroom.
No, but you've paid for the actress to be in the film. You've paid their money. You paid. Surely you would film a segment of them, because maybe Maria Hill was a Skrull the whole time.
She might be off doing something else. Then we might see what she's doing in the post-credit scene.
Come on, that's a cool theory though. Like,
it is a cool theory. It doesn't even exist.
Maria Hill was always a Skrull. And when you look back through all the stuff that she's been in, and she was always a Skrull, because obviously in the car, the two Skrulls, one of them we know where Nick Fury is, and that's fine. But the other one, we're not told anything about her. So that's my theory.
It's a sound theory. It's a sound one. It works.
I think that, and the reason I bring it up now is because
it checks out.
But I think it would be a very good way of showing that the Skrull have been here a lot longer than that, because it's kind of like, well, actually, this person was always a Skrull.
Ryan's ruined it for me now because all I could hear is that stupid song. It was Skrulls all along.
If that's not the spin-off song, I mean, that we wasted opportunity, surely.
If you've introduced the Skrulls, sorry guys, if you've introduced the Skrulls as good guys in this, what is Secret Invasion going to be about? I mean, because in the comics,
yeah, that's very true.
Or they're pretending to be our friends just to get into Earth and get in with the right people, and then uprising.
But I think the MCU have kind of made them a bit wet. I think that's the only way I can describe them. Like in the comic books, I remember thinking they were like, they're super hard. These are not guys. And you think about like the Super Skrull and all that kind of stuff.
It was a bit of a body snatcher type thing as well. It was scarier in the comic books than it has been in its reveal. In its reveal in the films, it's been definitely, you're right, wetter is probably a good description of it.
It's just, they're just like a bit of wet tissue paper. It's kind of like, it used to be something good and now it's just a bit useless. Like maybe they're just waiting
maybe we're waiting for the Fantastic Four movie to fully reveal their motives.
Yeah. Or do we get it that maybe it's just a case of, because obviously we've only seen a handful of Skrull, let's be honest. We've not seen like the full thing of Skrull. We haven't only seen
the army from the abyss. Yeah.
If that's not the name of a Marvel tribute band, a handful of Skrulls, I don't like. That's the perfect name for the band.
But yeah, very true. But we have only seen a handful of Skrulls, so the ones that we've seen might be the kind of cast-offs, the wusses, the wimps, the kind of we need to hang around with these guys. Yeah. Whereas the Super Skrull, these evil Skrulls that we've seen in the comic books, they're actually all sort of on their planet doing their thing, ready to invade. Or, I think there's still potential for them to be have a heel turn without rewriting what we already know about them.
Yeah, it could be like a red herring type thing that we think they're all nice and everything like that, and then like you said, the Super Skrulls, that the non-exiles come and they're actually terrifying.
But Talos is Talos, isn't it? That's how you say his name. Talos. He is a bit of a kind of, I don't say a wimp, but he is a little bit like soft, isn't he? And like a bit apologetic and all that kind of stuff. So you wouldn't expect him to kind of really lead up this like army of kind of.
He is like an Englishman who's just pushed in line.
Yeah.
For a really good reason, but he's still sorry.
But in the MCU, how long has he been playing the role of Nick Fury? Because I mean, when did Nick Fury go to space? Are we talking post Captain Marvel, everything onwards? The entire Doctor Strange, the entire thing as we've known him has always been the Scroll. Is it? That's what. But
that's it. That's maybe that's what they're gonna tell us in Secret Invasion. But no, I think I'm excited for Miss Marvel as well. I'm not gonna lie. I think that
Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan. Yeah.
I think I think that there's a lot of, again, it's one of those characters that for a lot of the younger generation, she's a very well-established character. For us older ones, it's kind of like, they made Miss Marvel a younger girl and all that kind of stuff. Whereas, for the younger generation, she is a very well-established character. And I'm a big fan.
I want to see the giant hand.
Yeah, they've got to really, and her costume looks good, doesn't it? Like her costume looks really cool from the stills. They've got to do the CGI, like big hands and stretchy arms and stuff like that. And I must admit, like the Avengers game was a bit crap. Like, let's say it's a bit crap. It was rubbish. It was awful. It was released too quick. And I'm still waiting for my Spider-Man downloadable content. Like that's still not been released. But she was the best thing about it for me. Like playing as her and sort of seeing her story. That was what I enjoyed most about the game. But yeah, so yeah.
How does she clash with? I mean, if they're going to do Fantastic Four, how will she clash with Mr. Fantastic though?
Just really big high five.
Everyone's hands, big hands across the world.
Oh no, we've got our stretchy arms stuck in a knot again. This is inconvenient.
It'll be just a big old tickle match. Whoa.
World's biggest Mexican wave.
I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know. I don't think there's many comic books where she crosses over with the Fantastic Four. Not that I've read anyway. I don't know if there's any modern ones that I've missed but I don't think of the two in the same kind of space.
I didn't either until like now. Fantastic Four the movie's coming eventually, and if you've got her as one of the next up and coming, shoot. knock everything.
That big
hands across the world. Because if she's an up and comer, and the Fantastic Four are going to be there, I mean, there's going to be a clash, right? It's they're just male and female version of the same kind of character.
They're very similar, aren't they? Very similar powers. It'd just be like
X-Men.
Oh, don't get me started on the X-Men. Can't wait for the.
I want to see.
I just
want to see Rogue in the Marvels movie, and then that's it. I'm done. I can die happy. That's all.
I just want to. She's got to have big hair. They've got to just mimic the animated series version of her. Like it's got to be.
Hey now, sugar.
Yeah.
Sorry, when you just mentioned the Marvels movie, the Miss Marvel, it always makes me laugh because the title of that film is just amazing. Marvel Studios presents Marvel's Miss Marvel, the Marvelous movie.
Oh,
how many times can you say Marvel in a sentence?
But interestingly enough, as well, because obviously everyone's talking about how they're going to bring X-Men into the MCU, like how's the big introduction. But I think the Marvels is a perfect opportunity because of the Rogue tie-in. I think that would be a really clever way because not a lot of people would expect it. They're going to expect it in an Avengers or a Fantastic Four or something big. But obviously, if those people that do know the kind of story of Rogue and Captain Marvel and all the rest of it.
And I mean, that's such a really huge part of both, old Miss Marvel and Rogue's story in the comics. I mean, if you think of those two within the comics, you think of that whole sort of Rogue stealing the powers for decades, So it's to not do it in the MCU, I think would be criminal. I really do.
I could see them doing the X-Men reveals one at a time in the films coming up. So like you say, we might get Rogue in the next Marvels movie, but then we might get Storm in Wakanda appearing. That'd be a good tie-in for her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Professor X appearing in Fantastic Four, Wolverine in the up and coming Hulk movie that's supposedly coming. That would be a good.
I mean, also
Hulk and Wolverine versus the Wendigo as a movie. Come on, that's.
Oh yes, please.
That would be amazing.
You could also get Beast in the whole sword thing that they're bringing up because he was with sword for years. So there's a lot of good things that easy. Yeah.
I think you might have just hit a nail on the head there, Sorrell.
You could introduce each X-Men major character from the Jim Lee run in different films and just have them slowly scattered in bit by bit.
You know what?
Heard it here first, folks.
I think you've just hit an amazing nail on the head there because the other thing with Marvel as well, you think back to the last 10 years, it was all building up to Avengers and Endgame and every movie had a tie-in, didn't it? But we haven't got that now. There isn't a big underlying story. There isn't a plot. The only thing that Marvel have that they've not kind of announced is X-Men in that respect. And they could do that, like, even if it was the post-credit scenes or like a little cameo or just something that just, you're like, who's the next X-Men? Who are we going to see? And once they've done a couple, everybody would then be kind of like, oh, what X-Men's going to show up next? And then all of a sudden you have this thing where it pulls them together. I think the only drawback with it is that when you think about the time scale, if you have somebody announced in Wakanda Forever, for example, and then you've not got the X-Men film for 5-6 years, that person could potentially age. But then they did it with Tony Stark, didn't they? Nick Fury. Nick Fury showed up in Iron Man 1, didn't he? And then, 10 years later, you've got Endgame.
You need to get a cast that are going to be young enough to appear as the cameo for the character and then grow into the character as we go forward for the next 10 years of movies. So you're going to be looking at someone younger playing these people to eventually grow into the character, just like they did with some of the ones in this one. Like we all looked at Chris Hemsworth originally and went, you're too small to be Thor. But now he is Thor. You don't think of anyone else playing that role. Same for me with there's like other characters in the MCU. Like we all laughed when, what's he called? Chris Evans was going to be Captain America. Skinny little Chris Evans. He soon changed. He grew up. He bulked up. He did it.
Yeah.
I mean, they could do the same with X-Men. Just slowly introduce them as younger, like smaller actors that are going to become big later on.
When you say it like that, Sorrell, though, but truth be told, like the Marvels, isn't it? That's Rogue's introduction. Like Wakanda Forever, that is Storm's introduction. There are so many. There's so many solid.
Fantastic Four, it was Reed Richards made the X-Men's original costumes so that every time they turn the powers on, they didn't wreck the costumes, just like they did for Human Torch. If they use that as their reference point and just have a little cameo with Professor X, the guy who's going to be Professor X in the films, and
what about Illuminati though? How good would that be to see that on the screen?
That would be cool.
That would be really cool,
They've
wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, also then you've got Namor coming as well. I would also put him in Wakanda Forever or whatever that movie is called. And he's a mutant as well. So there you've got another mutant tie-in that can keep on going, going.
Which one? I missed that.
Namor.
Which one?
Namor.
Oh, Namor. Yeah. That's the accent. Sorry, man. Say it again. Say it again.
Namor.
Well, supposedly he is rumored to be.
He's the first mutant. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Well, technically, the first mutant was in Black Widow.
Oh, you mean in MCU? Yeah.
Yeah, the first mutant, Ursa Major. Did you read about this? So in the prison scene where Red Guardian's in the prison, the guy that's Ursa Major is the big one doing the arm wrestling.
Oh,
and he was
confirmed
that he is Ursa Major, which is obviously the guy that mutates and turns into the big bear. And that's technically the first mention of a mutant in an MCU film. But it was so kind of like, it's the same as the little kid being Peter Parker. It was like they'd done it, and then someone went, "Oh, does that mean this?" And they went, "Yes,
sure. It does." Of course, we thought this whole thing through.
You found that.
I am impressed that you guessed that.
Yeah, we're just going to change the so that it's official because you've guessed it. But I think that's Sorrell. I think that's such a good. That's got me thinking now on. That would be so cool, and it would keep people invested for so long. And then that just all leads to some big. You have something like Apocalypse or something because the big bad, and then all of a sudden this team have to come together and.
Just imagine you can just hear Professor X's voice that they've built. You just see Cerebro as one of the final scenes, and he puts on his head, "This is how I will contact them." Some cheesy throwaway line like that, and that's all you need.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool.
Played by Nick Cage.
No.
I have to find other mutants and bring them together.
I built a machine.
Powers. But now all I'm seeing is that scene from The Wicker Man where he puts the helmet on.
The bees! Stop the bees!
Put Cerebro on, and there's just loads of bees in it. Right, okay. Anything else on Disney Plus, or are we moving on? I think you got to leave on that high. Leave on that high. That's cool. That is cool. All right, so let's do NECA and stuff. What other toys did we get shown about before we go through these 10/27 reveals?
So obviously NECA's been doing their Universal sort of monsters kind of thing, and been announcing all the horror stuff over Halloween. And Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are now being crossed over with Universal monsters. So we're getting a Frankenstein Raphael, which looks actually awesome.
Oh, I saw this. Yes, I did see
it's very much reminiscent of the toy line we got as a kid, where we had like Dracula, Leonardo, and the Playmates did them years ago. We're getting a Frankenstein version of Raphael. Then they announced that Michelangelo is the Hunchback of Notre Dame, so the Hunchback Igor kind of character, and then the other two haven't been announced yet. But the building the Teenage Mutant Turtles monsters line, which I'm kind of excited about. I'm not gonna lie, I've already pre-ordered Raphael with Comics Cocktails.
That's awesome. But that was a cool thing about the Turtles line back in the day, is that they crossed out. Like, they had Star Trek, didn't they? They had monsters. They like literally everything, and we've already seen quite a few crossovers in modern toys. So the monsters one could be really cool. Could be really popular.
Yeah. And then they announced, obviously, the big final reveal was finally that Universal Monsters, they're going to do the Dracula figure, because obviously they've got the Wolfman, the Mummy so far, and Frankenstein. Yeah. We're now getting Dracula, but they've actually got the rights for Bela Lugosi, because the others kind of don't look like the characters. They kind of looked a little bit like them, but this one is full on Bela Lugosi. You can tell who it is, and they've got the rights, and they've got the Lugosi logo in the corner and stuff. So they've paid for that one.
That's awesome. That's
well, who else? For Dracula, for me, you need a proper like the actor's faces. You can't just go with a generic face for Dracula. The one that Jada did was okay, but it doesn't scream Dracula to me. Lugosi does. So I'm excited to see that.
Nice.
And that was kind of it for NECA. They did some other small reveals. Like, have you seen those little like NECA little mystery ball bag things they've been doing? Yeah, I can't think. It's like a collection.
Sorry,
I know. I can't think of a name. Mystery bags. You got little capsules.
You see those little ball bags?
I'm gonna keep going. I couldn't think of a name for it. Those little mystery gashapons in Japan.
I know. It's fine.
Surprising everyone.
Sorry, tell us about your little ball bags. What's in them?
That's going to be the intro to this damn episode now, isn't it? Me talking about my ball bags. Right.
Are they full of good things? Come on, tell me. I want to hear.
It's getting worse.
It's getting worse.
Yeah. Come on.
Professionals.
It's you like little gashapons from Japan.
Yeah.
It's so every one contains like a new piece for your figures. So like they release Chucky ones, they release Gremlins ones, and they come with like the Chucky one came with a new head sculpt. So I mean, I think, and like they've included different hands, different weapons. Like they've done a Halloween one for Halloween Kills, and you can get the new mask for Mike to put on your old Michael. Even though they're releasing a new figure, they've given you the new head to put on the old ones.
That's clever. That's really clever.
I think that's very clever by NECA, and that if they keep doing that's a great. Instead of doing those big accessory packs they used to do for like 80 odd quid, if they just do these little bags, they could just keep popping in new items in them, and that'd sell. That'd sell.
And Marvel Legends could learn from that, and Black Series, all these things.
All of them, but all of the toy lines have said it. Like just
years, Marvel Legends are missing a treat without with not doing accessory packs. They're missing a treat.
Yeah, 100%.
Even DC has some good ones.
That's really clever. That is really clever.
Yeah, that was kind of it. That was kind of it for all the big October announcements out of NECA. I've just had a quick look on Toy Act. Nothing else has been really going on because nobody wanted to compete with the NECA announcements, I don't think. And obviously Marvel did their big 1027 event. So
has anyone still got the Matrix license? Because obviously Matrix 4 comes out this year. I'm just wondering.
McFarlane got the toy rights.
They still got it.
They've still got it. They renewed the toy rights when the new trailer came out.
You know what? I saw some of the old figures at MCM last weekend, and I was so tempted to buy them, but they were just crap. Like they were the really early ones, and I just thought I can't even put them on the shelf with something because they look so dated. The McFarlane, the later ones, looked good.
The Code Agent Smith one, where you see through plastic with the code going. That's the only one I want.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like an unusual one-off type thing without having it with anything else. That could just be a thing.
Yeah.
McFarlane back in the day kind of made the more like, I consider them articulated statues, if you will. There were figures that were never meant to be posed, really. They were already in a pose.
No, but
took them out of the packaging and left them, didn't you?
No, those ones I thought were good, like the Morbius and the Morbius. No, what was his name? Morpheus. Mobius. There's too many. Mobius is in
Marvel.
Loki.
The crossover you didn't know you were getting.
Morbius is the vampire, and Morpheus. But no, it's like the Morpheus 4. On the.
Ryan, why would you do that? Now I've just got. If you take the red pill, wow, red pill.
with Owen Wilson. Wow.
Your Morbius and Morpheus.
But no, I know what you're talking about. And they had the what was Jada Pinkett Smith's character, the one in the red leather suit, and she was on like stood there, and they were really good ones. I'm talking about the very first ones that were like the toys, and you got the Neo with the closed mouth.
Oh
and,
they sucked.
Yeah, they were the ones I saw, and they weren't very good. So no, if I saw some of the McFarlane statues, I would have grabbed them in a heartbeat without even looking at the price tag, because I remember I bought them all as they came out. And I had the whole Series 1 and Series 2, and I sold them all on eBay as like a job lot for something like 40 quid or something like that. Like something really ridiculously cheap, like back in the day. And now I'm kicking myself. But never mind. If you bought that off me, then drop it down in the comments below, and we'll but no.
I'll have them back.
So was that it? Was that it for NECA and?
Yeah, I mean, there were some Star Wars stuff that came out before the 1027 event. If you remember, just before 1027, they announced 3 new figures, didn't they? Did you see that?
Yeah, they did.
So yeah, we got two TVC characters. We got Ahsoka and the Mandalorian Death Watch figure, and a Black Series 6-inch of the Client from the first series.
Yes,
I think that they got released because they got leaked. Because I'm pretty sure I saw the leak.
So basically,
and then
so they
now we announce it.
They appeared on StarWars.com as part of that the bounty thing they're doing. But it was on the day that 1027 was happening, so I'm guessing they went early with the announcement.
Yeah,
1027 then appeared an hour later. Like they didn't even mention it. So
Well, I think it's interesting as well. Is that the Ahsoka that's the Rose Dawson? Is
Rosario
it?
Dawson.
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's her, isn't
her
it?
version in TVC. We've not yet got her in 6-inch yet, but they've released her in 3-inch.
But I think that
It should always be 3-inch first.
But when you look at the sculpt,
someone was going to say something.
Yeah. Whenever you see the 3¾ inch, whatever, they're not that far off, are they? When they come out in the 6-inch, so to see the sculpt and the level of detail in it, I think it's really promising for the 6-inch. So yeah. All right, let's talk about 1027 then. Let's talk a little bit about that, because there was obviously a lot there. Let's go straight in with Transformers first, because Ryan's a Transformers man. What did you think of what's his name, Lift Ticket?
Good.
Okay,
No,
and then moving on.
No, there's a Lift Ticket's good. I mean, this is the problem. It is cool, but obviously we're back into repaints in disguise again. Like they've got a mold and like going, but this is a very recent mold, and it's just like they're not even sorry. Sorry, Ash.
Sorry, mate. I'm probably sick of it. I can hear the voice. Repaints in disguise,
guys. It looks like a new character, but it's not. The paint, it's really good, but it's more based on like these e-hobby designs they used to do. They used to do G1 reissues, and they used to do what was called like the e-hobby, which things in like the Kara styles. Like in Japan, they used to do these releases and unusual characters based on the G1 molds, new paint schemes based on the original Diaclone line, and then give them sort of modern Transformer names. So while the concept's cool, and they were doing that with Generation Selects, but now they seem to just bring it into the normal line. And normally you would have Hoist and Trailbreaker are the two that would use that mold. So they've added this one, which is great. But this early in the line, it's like going, we're doing a repaint of something really obscure so early on in the new series. It doesn't fill me with a load of confidence. But the blaster they revealed though was amazing. They've revealed Blaster in the Q&A section they had. I think it was after 27, and that looks really good. They've even done actually a cassette Transformer again. They've done Rewind, but again, it's a really odd choice of Rewind. So they've done half his body in solid plastic, like the central part of his body's in solid plastic, but his arms and legs are transparent blue. So it doesn't look right in either mode, because just like one triangle of it is solid and the rest is see-through. It's almost like someone couldn't make their mind up and just like, we'll just do both. It's fine. They're fine with it.
Just parts made in two different places, and they came together, and it's like, oh, you were doing translucent. Oh, you were doing solid.
Damn it, Carl. But the actual blaster itself is incredible. I mean, that's actually my favorite Transformer character. G1 was like since I was a kid, Blaster. So he is actually pretty close to his G1 looks. Like he looks spot on to both the cartoon and the original toy, even to the point where the boombox handles are up on the sides of his legs, which is like the toy. So I'm really looking forward to that one. That's actually my favorite reveal out of Transformers so far this year.
Nice.
Isn't Lift Ticket like? Isn't he going to be a combiner or something? Did they mention?
No, that's Drag Strip.
Oh, Drag Strip.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I know they mentioned something about a combiner.
They did mention it. Yeah, I didn't pick up on who it was, but
they got asked a lot about if they were going to be doing like combiner sets, because in the last couple of series they did for Combiner Wars, Titans Return, stuff like that. They were still doing box sets of the entire combiner teams. People were asking if they were going to do that, and if we were going to see some pictures of like Drag Strip in his limb mode, which there aren't many toys you can say, oh, this would look better as an arm. But this, we've got no idea what the shape's going to be like. We don't know how form it's going to take. Because in the original, if they're going for more of a cartoon thing, what it would be was the main Transformer. So Motor Master was the central Transformer in the combiner. And what it was, it'd almost be like his arms and legs. And then the cars would just sort of sit on top of the arms and legs, rather than becoming the arms and legs like the G1 toys did and Combiner Wars did. So because of the design of this new Drag Strip, I think everyone's a bit kind of curious about it and want to know more about the combiner side of things. But they're being really tight-lipped about it. They're basically just saying, we're just focusing on Menasor at the moment. This isn't a brand new, because people are asking about the old system, if it's going to be interchangeable. And they're like, we're just focusing on this at the moment, and we will reveal all in good time, if you're patient. I've been Ryan Speaks Geek, and back to you.
Back to the studio. Yeah, no, that's cool. That is cool. What about G.I. Joe? What did you make of the G.I. Joe reveals?
I didn't see them.
I wasn't overly impressed.
No,
you know what?
The whole event, I'm not being funny. The whole event, I love HASBRO. I say this, but I'm one of the harshest critics, because they did this event just after HASBRO PulseCon, which was a major event and gave us lots of cool stuff. And then this came out and it was like they had a bunch of mediocre stuff to release and stuck a big marketing thing around it. It was so weird.
It again, just for clarity's sake, like I'm a massive Hasbro fan. Like, can't that's my collection. Yep. But it felt very much like they said to all the brands, keep one or two of the ones that you're not overly excited about, and we'll do them on a separate day. It was cool to see them, but it could have been done a lot quicker because it was just a few things. But like for me, G.I. Joe, it's not a line I collect, but when Hasbro sent that Zartan figure, I was like, I need to be in this. Like, I need to get this line. You know, I need to be involved in this collection. And then they had the Hasbro Pulse Con, and they showed us all of those. You know, like the Spirit one and all the rest of it.
Amazing.
And I was like, these look incredible. You got the Storm Shadow, and I was like, right, I need to pre-order some of these. That's cool. And then they done the 1027, and we got the Cobra Officer and the Alley Viper, and I was just kind of like, what? Well, to me, they meant nothing, and that was as somebody who was new to the line. I'm sure to people like diehard G.I. Joe fans, they were exciting reveals, but I was just like, it didn't do anything for me. It wasn't like
I'm saying
you mean nothing to me.
Yeah. All right. So then, Star Wars Black Series probably had the biggest selection, didn't they? And probably the most hyped. I think they were the ones that I was expecting to see at PulseCon. And I think that the Star Wars panel was definitely the one that I was kind of like, wow, you didn't reveal this to the general public and you've just done it on this premium thing. So we got Bib Fortuna, obviously. We all knew that he was coming. And I love the fact that his things are like articulated. Like, what are they called? The tendril things around his neck.
Yeah, I call them tendrils.
But the fact they move and they're like bendy, I think that's brilliant. Obviously, we got the what's it, Stormtrooper as well. What Stormtrooper was it from Rogue One?
No, it's not got the short trooper. It's something similar though. It's like a
Jetta or something like that.
Yeah.
What's the place called?
Jeddah.
The Jeddah Patrol Stormtrooper. Jeddah Patrol Stormtrooper.
Jeddah, that's it. And then of course we got the two big ones, which were
Leku. The Twi'lek's tentacles are known as Leku.
Oh, okay. There you go. He's Leku. He's Leku Bendy. But then we got the two big ones, didn't we? We got obviously Omega, which everyone knew was coming. But I thought she looked great, but she didn't look as good as I wanted her to look. Does that make sense? I was kind of like, oh my god, that's brilliant. It's like
we said that about all of them figures so far, because they don't look like the cartoon versions. They've tried to realize them and they don't look it's not there.
But then the funny thing is Echo was obviously announced, and I thought he looked brilliant. I was really excited about it. But then, like, the big selling part of him was this big claw thing that didn't even make it into the show. Yeah. And it was like they made this big deal out of, and he comes with his big claw, but which didn't make it into the show, but it was there in concept art. So we put his big claw in, and it was like, I don't know.
Didn't he use that claw in Clone Wars though? Isn't that the claw he uses to put into, like, to basically do what R2D2 does and hack into machines? Didn't he do that in Clone Wars towards the end when they were going to like sacrifice him or whatever, but then he saved himself?
Not with the big claw. This looked like
was this like a massive claw?
Yeah, this looks like I'd pull off a stormtrooper's head or something. You know what I mean? It's like a big old claw. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was cool. I was pleased about them. The one that excited me was the Ghostbusters panel. I'm not going to lie, but the HasLab Proton pack. I thought that was really cool. Like, did I back it? No. Did I appreciate it as a piece? I was like, yeah, definitely. But then the price was very high for what it was.
And it doesn't come with the gun.
What?
What? They're selling the gun separately. It doesn't come with the gun.
No,
that's just for the backpack. That is just the backpack and the lead tube. You have to they announced the gun separately at the last HAS convention. You remember? You got to buy the pulse rifle thing separately.
I'll be honest. I actually think that's not a cool move. I think that's a bit of a D move. Again, I love HasBro, but
that's what a lot of people are thinking, realizing when you look at the things they're selling, it is literally just a backpack.
I didn't know that. I thought, oh man, see, I thought that it was a case of you could have the gun if you just wanted the gun, but then the HasLab project was the whole thing. So if you back the HasLab project, you kind of get it all. But if you don't, you can just get the gun and kind of look at everyone with their cool backpacks. But that makes it even less. I mean, I thought it was brilliant. Like,
when you look at, because it's on there now, and if you look at all the pictures, there is no gun.
None of them show the gun.
It is no gun. You are literally just paying for the Proton pack. And I'm looking at it now. What's included? Proton pack. It is literally just the Proton pack. You are paying all that money for the Proton pack.
Wow.
That's not cool.
Yeah. So the problem is that it's, as a HasLab project, obviously, what is it? It's like 350 quid, isn't it, the mark? Is it 350 or
359.99? You've got to back it.
Okay, so there you go. So 360.
It's going to be backed by the end of the night. It's already on 6,262 backers out of a target of 7,000.
Yeah. Do you think they'll do tier reveals?
I'm hoping the first tier reveal is a gun.
Well, there was pictures. Does the slime come with it as it is? Because there was pictures of it with slime on it.
The slime is an exclusive for backers only, for premium backers only.
Oh, right. Okay. So that's not the first tier. Because I was just thinking the first tier would be like slime, and then they'd release it as white, and it would be marshmallow. And then the third one would
the
be
stretch goals is the classic.
It would be
bundle.
the Ghostbusters 2.
So the stretch goals. So at 9,000, we unlock the classic bundle. 11,000 unlocks the Afterlife bundle. 13,000 unlocks the Spengler special, and the 15,000 unlocks the Supernatural stand.
Wow.
So your big major backing point at 15,000 is for a stand.
Wow, that's a shame. That is a shame. Because the thing is that if you've got anything about you and you can use kind of card and foam and all that kind of stuff, like you can make a Proton pack. I mean, kids have been building them out of cardboard boxes for
Stranger Things
25 years. Do you know what I mean? And I saw, when I was at MCM, I saw some guy dressed up as Ghostbusters, and it was a really nice moment actually, because there was these little kids dressed up as Ghostbusters, and this guy had like the full suit, the Proton pack, and all that kind of stuff. And then they said to him, "Oh, like, where did you get it from?" And he said, "I built it myself." And he turned around and flicked a switch, and the lights went up. It made all the sounds, and then obviously a couple of days later, the day before, sorry, they had already announced the HasLab project, and I just thought, this guy's done it, and I bet he did it for less than 350 quid.
So
Spirit had a gun.
Spirit Halloween, you can get on Amazon right now, Amazon.co.uk, for £200. You can get the Spirit Halloween Ghostbusters Deluxe Replica Proton Pack. It's officially licensed by the Ghostbusters company. It lights up and makes noise. And that's £200. And you can even to do that, you can even do the 0% APR thing on Amazon and only pay £89 for the next 3 months.
And it has a gun.
I mean, and it has a gun. And if you didn't want to go that expensive, they've actually released for Afterlife a kids Proton pack, just like we had back in the 80s. It's the blue one, the big old one. They released that. Awesome. If you take one of them, if you've got enough know-how, you could take that, spray paint it, color it up, add some LEDs. It'd look amazing. Yeah,
no, definitely. All right, well, there you go. There's my big poo-poo on my HasBro bit. No, the thing was, I thought that the production value of their post, all of their stuff over at HasCon and at HasBro PulseCon, and I just enjoyed their segments. And I think with the hype of the new movie just around the corner, I'm really psyched for this movie. I think it's going to be a real kind of hit in the nostalgia and everything like that. It is disappointed. I'm even more disappointed knowing it doesn't come with a gun now. That's a real shame.
And they could have announced. Obviously, there was so much more they could have announced. I mean, they have got product in the pipeline that they're just not talking about.
No,
and there's a lot of them is already out in America. Like you've got all the Stay Puft Marshmallow Mystery Mini stuff coming out. They've got so much. They've got the Phoebe character for the Plasma series that we've still not seen yet, but she's coming. She's going to be exclusive. But they could have talked about that. It would just seemed, we're going to talk about the backpack again, and not.
You know what? I would have considered backing a HasLab project if it was a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, man, definitely.
A good sort of 18-inch Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, just for the sake of having it on the shelf, like that. I would have, because one thing as a kid, and actually I would have backed it 100%, because one thing that always annoyed me as a kid, I had the firehouse, I had the car, I had the figures,
the Stay Puft was this
and
big.
The Stay Puft was like 7 inches tall. How am I supposed to recreate that? The fight, I literally had to like force perspective it in the game, kind of thing. But if I had an opportunity. Yeah, or just get your younger sibling to like. But if I had a chance to get that would have hit straight in the nostalgia, and I would have gone like, yeah, I'm gonna for that 10-year-old back then, I have to get this sort of thing. But that's a shame. Maybe a future HasLab project.
So if you wanted to get the face, if you're going to back the project, which is already expensive, to get the wand on top of that is another $124 on top of that.
Wow.
So I mean, that's a lot of cash to throw out to get the replica set. Because who wants the backpack without the wand? Come on.
Yeah, and surely you're going to just kind of hang it on your wall, or at a push wear it as part of a cosplay or something. But yeah, that's a lot of money.
Even our friends at Zavi, discount codes in description, have got it online for £99. So I mean,
yeah. Did you get your 12% discount code today?
I did, but I didn't do it with it.
No, I just put it out on Instagram. It's such a short window, but if anyone is watching,
he messaged me at like midday and said, "Can you put this out for the day?" I'm like, "You could have messaged me this morning, dude."
Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway, back to that. Away from Zavi and discount codes, but so the last one then was Marvel Legends. So the big one for them was obviously the Iron Spider. It's a suit that people have been asking for years and years and years. The old versions of the Iron Spider are definitely dated. And I'm assuming it's going to be built on that new body, that new buck, with the articulated arms and everything like that. But there was no kind of mention. It was just a case of, this is our rendered artwork. This is coming out at some point next year. We can't tell you whether it's a deluxe, part of a wave, a single box set, or anything, but it's coming. And so I was a little bit let down by that, just because I would have liked to have known where that was fitting in.
Yeah, it's a pipeline thing, though, isn't it? And they do say that they can't, like, it's when they originally announced Bib Fortuna for Star Wars, it was like they couldn't tell you where it was going in the line. It was just coming.
No,
I think Marvel have started doing that now, haven't they?
Yeah,
giving us just tidbits and teasers
to things.
And then the only other thing that came out was immediately available for pre-order, which was the animated VHS box set version of Mr. Sinister, which I was massively disappointed by. Don't get me wrong, I've got the two. I've got Jubilee and Wolverine like set up. They're coming to me when they're out, but I wasn't fussed about Sinister. I was like, I'm not going to buy every single one of these. I'm not going to purchase every single one of these. And that was a massive letdown. We've only just had a Sinister re-release, and apart from his like cuffs and a bit of cell shading, it wasn't
like we said on the night.
That's supposed to be the animated series, Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's got his black cape rather than his traditional red coloured cape on the inlay. It's a black coloured, isn't it, or blue or something, so it matches the animated series. And they've done like cell shading on them to make them look more animated. But it is basically the same thing we've already had.
The Wolverine, with the cell shading on the Wolverine and the little joke accessories of the photo frame, and obviously the bigger cow, like, it makes sense. It was an animated version of Wolverine. Jubilee, I could kind of let them get away with because they had changed the colors and she had the yellow gloves and that kind of stuff. And I was
Jubilee,
like, you know what?
Was the main character in animated series. She was the introduction.
Yeah,
she was the lead.
And I need to have like an animated Jubilee, an animated Wolverine to kind of go with this guy here, so that I can just kind of like set up some of those animated shots. But then a Mr. Sinister, I was just like, no, I'm not fussed. I've got a Sinister on my shelf that looks the same. This actually looks better. I'm not fussed about that.
Not a Sinister show.
But I think they would have done better.
HASBRO Pulse order this week, actually.
Did you? What did you order? Oh, you got that from Hasbro Play.
Yeah. Do you know what?
We've got that.
And I will say it was actually based on, I was going to leave it, and then I watched both of your reviews, and it changed my mind. When I realized it was like an old school 70s playset, the old school. I was like, oh.
Same.
Cardboard, yeah, so
and that's why
subscribe to their channels. It's why they do what they do.
It just proves it works. It just proves it works. Like, it's
do it for the kids.
It's unfolding. But yeah, so Sinister was a bit meh for me. And that was it, wasn't it?
As soon as they announce a Rogue and a Gambit, people are going to go mental.
Well,
can't be long, surely.
Rogue's around the corner, surely.
Rogue surely is the next one.
It's on its way.
Yeah. Oh, mate, don't talk to me about that. I'm still gutted that never happened.
Me too.
But Rogue's a funny one because obviously Rogue was a massively popular figure, wasn't she? Like, she was Hot Topic, that Juggernaut Wave Rogue. And then they announced the retro card and everyone was like, oh, the price is going to drop on her, and it didn't. And then everyone, well, I say everyone, certain types of people bought multiple Rogues, thinking that they were going to be the big pay packet. Nobody wanted to buy them on the second-hand market, but now everybody's chasing them, and so these scalpers have kind of got a bit of their money back. So as soon as this one comes out, it's going to sell out as soon as it goes. So she's got to be done. I think that for me, a really smart move would be for them to do like a deluxe version, do Apocalypse, and kind of give us an opportunity to get that builder figure, because it's one of the most hard to finish builder figures because of that headpiece. And I think that would be a really smart move from them.
Yeah, I reckon because they announced a while back they were going to do a deluxe box set of Sauron, is he called? The big vault,
yeah.
Pterodactyl. Because he was in the animated series, I wouldn't put it past them now doing a little bit of a slight redeco and re-releasing him as a deluxe villain figure like we've been getting with the other releases we've had. Some of the Bath figures re-released. I could see him doing that for him.
Yeah,
I agree. Re-release yet.
I agree. And I think that was it. For 1027. I think that was it for the week. For a week that I didn't think a lot happened, we've talked a lot. Any other news? Right, Ryan's just opening his toys.
Playing with his toy, yeah.
Ryan's like, I've shut down, I've shut off. I'm now opening my toys and playing with them.
Did anybody?
I got a good delivery today.
Did anybody grab Guardians of the Galaxy? Did anybody grab that?
No, I didn't.
Guardians. I haven't played it yet. Still sealed. I need to play it. But yeah,
let me know.
Guardians is now out.
Oh,
hello.
And da. Mate, I got a whole box from here. Look, they're all just here. So,
you guys are killing me here, because the big thing I got to take away from watching that PulseCon was, and this will all be released in the UK and the US. And we get sweet FA over here.
Oh man, I feel for it. Is it really hard to get it over there then?
Oh, dude, collecting over here it's like hen's teeth. We've got maybe one or two decent sized comic book stores that'll carry like proper figurines and stuff, but I mean, my stuff I've just packed away because my kids ate a couple of them, which was quite devastating. And then I was like, right, well, pack this stuff up because it'll be worth something one day.
Oh, brilliant. Just waiting.
Authentic battle damage.
Yeah. I mean, I used to have this amazing Days of the Future Past Wolverine, and my kid just ate his head, and I was like, well, that's awesome. It's like, what have you done? Oh, sorry. Just, he's a cool figurine. So that was it. That was the end of that. Packed it all up, gone.
That a Wolverine head is not going to be nice to pass either. Let's be honest. At least eat like a Spider-Man or something. That's just going to come out. Like,
they ate that. They ripped. I had this 22-inch Venom, and they just ripped the whole thing in half. That was it. It all happened in about 3 weeks. Where I used to explain all my stuff.
Reattach, you'll be fine.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Oh, but supposedly.
For me, I got the Rogue. I couldn't resist getting the Rogue. I'm not getting.
Mine are up here.
I'm not getting the rest of the wave. I'm really not fussed with the rest of the wave, but I've got.
Mate, it is a cool wave. But I love the Age of Apocalypse comic book. So the 2 waves for me were brilliant.
Gunslinger Spawn. As
well. Nice. Yep.
I had to get Gunslinger Spawn.
Nice.
But the best find for me this week, and I shared it with you guys, but I thought I'd share it on the podcast if we're going to talk reveals and stuff, was the B&M here in the UK have now started stocking the Cos Baby products.
Ooh.
And Marvel Zombies are now out here, and these are only $12.99 each.
Nice.
These things are going on eBay for like 50 quid a pop. It's insane. And they've got the whole line in. I've got the Deadpool one. There's the Daredevil. There's so many different characters, and they've even got the Batman ones in as well. You can get Batman Forever and Batman 2. I forgot the name. Returns.
Yeah.
So there's some good stuff in B&M right now.
Do you know what my favorite purchase of the week so far? I mean, I haven't opened my What If wave yet, but my favorite purchase of the week was a second version of this. Now I've got the whole 20th anniversary line, but I bought a second one of this just because it is a much better fit for my figure of me. It's a much better size. So I whacked some trainers on him, like some Converse, and now it's an actual like it's like the size of me now, as opposed to that little thin one I had. So I was like, when I had to get a second one of those, so I was like, yeah. So there we go. So
Here's
now
the vintage version of my one.
And then, So that was my favorite purchase, just because I wanted to get one for ages, but they were quite hard to get hold of. And then all of a sudden they were like discounted everywhere. So I was like, yeah, I'll get one of those. Thank you very much. So yeah. But I'm looking for, have you put Captain Carter on the Hydra Stomp yet?
No, I've got to be honest. I sold my Hydra Stomper to a friend. I didn't want to keep it in my collection.
Did you? Oh man. See, mine's like behind my Sentinel over here. But
I can't keep everything anymore. I'm running out of room. You should see mate. All my figures are in boxes. I'm not sure if you can see that. They're all in stacker boxes, just scattered throughout my room. I've got boxes upon boxes, and I've got 2 boxes under my desk. I've got all that going on behind me. My review pile is insane. It takes up half the floor now. So I can't keep everything anymore.
I'm lucky. I've got my cabinets, and they kind of go round. But yeah, I'm running out of space. But
send them over to Charles, and then it could be food for his children.
Yeah, listen, if you guys, at any point, just
man, we can make it happen. I'm sure we can make it happen. I'm sure I could send a few things your way, Charles.
I've got to the point now where I'm
like normal toy stores out there, then like just normal release. Or is it always really delayed?
Yeah, we do it, but it's kid stuff. It's not collectible stuff. The biggest one we've got here is Comic Book Warehouse, and it's basically the size of a warehouse, and they get your collectible stuff and all that, but I mean that's only 3 years old. So I mean that's what we're looking at here. We just don't have any of the good stuff, and I'll just live vicariously through you guys for a while. That's fine.
That's all right.
One final thing to mention for the week as well that we haven't talked about: the return of Toys R Us is coming here in the UK.
We never lost it.
If you're a 90s kid like us guys, that's a big deal. I'm so excited.
Actually,
back after 4 years of them being gone, this is going to be awesome to see them back.
What I'm interested
we got really excited. Charles was like, "We never lost it."
We didn't. When it happened,
else, but we never lost our Toys R Us.
We even had a Babies R Us. It was crazy. Everything was just skewed into.
We actually Babies. I think it works differently. See, over there, they opened up Babies R Us, and they kind of obviously it worked out for them. They opened Babies R Us over here, and it was like some dysfunctional family. The baby came along, and it all just fell apart. They closed down. But what I'm interested about though is that because a lot of the stores that are over here, because they were everywhere, they were in every town, weren't they? And it seems like sort of 50% of the stores have kind of closed down, and they're now something else. But then there are a load of the stores still kind of set up just with the branding outside, still just they've been empty for 4 years. I wonder whether they're going to go back into those stores. So with these there's a couple that I drive past that are boarded up. They still look like a Toys R Us, but they're boarded up. And I wonder whether they're just going to kind of go back in and open up again as if they've never left.
They've got to sort out their pricing though, because the problem is...
Well, they've got competition now. They've got competition.
Yeah, because when they had that pop-up one in Chelmsford, where we are, it was ridiculous. I'd go in there, my mate worked there, and he didn't get any discount, which was annoying, so I couldn't even use that. But I couldn't justify it, because I was like, I can go over there, there, and spend less.
But listen, Ryan, take Marvel Legends. What?
Sorry, Ryan. From one YouTuber to another. I know you guys are up and coming. I want to help you as much as I can with as much information as possible. When you're on camera, don't put your hands below the desk and bounce your knee. You know what I'm saying, bro? You were just stood there going, Toys R Us.
Yeah, he wasn't bouncing his knee.
Toys R Us.
It's a magical place. No.
But think about it logically, though, right? So 4 years ago, just the Marvel Legends line, right? So Marvel Legends you would get from Toys R Us. Yeah. 4 years ago, you didn't have Pulse UK, so you didn't have Hasbro in the UK. You didn't have Smiths stock in Marvel Legends. You didn't have the Entertainers stock in Marvel Legends. You didn't have places like Asda stock in Marvel Legends. Not to mention places like Home Bargains, B&M that get the secondary waves and just sell them off dirt cheap. So Toys R Us are going to have to open with a massive kind of price strategy, because otherwise they're just going to close up again. People will not go there for a Marvel Legend. Whereas 4 years ago they would have. They're not going to go there now when there's so many options. And that's not even talking about Amazon, Zavvi, those kind of websites, or your Comics and Cocktails, in-demand toys, all those independent retailers that have kind of sailed the collectors through the last few years, whatever. When I first started collecting, the only place I could pick them up were Toys R Us. Since Toys R Us are closed, I'm literally spoiled for choice of where I would get them. And it's a case of, sorry, Charles, this is really rubbing it in your face, but it is a case of like, there's choices and you can choose where you're going to go, as opposed to kind of, well, I have to get it from that place because otherwise I'm not going to get it. Like, even to the extent which I noticed with this PulseCon, when PulseCon was on, they would announce a figure 2 years ago. It was a case of you had to pre-order that the minute that came out, otherwise you were going to miss it. Whereas now it's a case of, well, actually, I've got time. I'm going to look and see who's got it, or see who's doing the best deal, or who's getting it the soonest, that kind of stuff. So Toys R Us, yes, they're back, but they're either going to have to come back with a completely different strategy, or in a move that could completely turn the toy industry upside down in the UK. If they came in and undercut everyone, we would all go and shop there.
The thing on the announcement was that they're coming in with the same mindset they've got in when they relaunched in, I think, America, it was Australia, which was the adult collector is the main buyer these days. So we go into those shops for ourselves, but we end up buying stuff for our kids while we're there. Basically, yeah. So that is the demographic they're going to be aiming for in the UK. So hopefully it'll reopen with a more collector-friendly store in mind. Maybe not as kiddie as it once was.
Can you imagine the adverts on television? Do you remember that Star Wars spoof advert where there's the kids playing with them and the adults like, oh, you keep them in the box?
Yeah,
like that's the advert for Toys R Us. Toys R Us this Christmas, get your Star Wars toys that you can keep in the box. Like, it's just aiming it at, like, you know,
Jeffrey, play with them, put them in cabinets,
mate. Jeffrey literally leading like a 35-year-old man around the toy store. Like,
Jeffrey's got like a full-on beard now and a nerd t-shirt, you know.
Definitely. All right, let's call it a night. On that one, unless you guys have got anything else that you want to add to it.
I was just going to say, on the back of what you were just saying about Jeffrey, I did get a very funny comment, which I have to read out, that I got earlier today on my channel. Which is just in that vein, which made me laugh. Where is it? So it was, does anyone remember when toys were for kids instead of creepy fanboys who you wouldn't let near your kids? I got that comment today on YouTube, and after what you just said, that just proper made me smile. Like, it's so true, isn't it?
It's very true. But the problem is that, you know, I've always kind of like stood true to this, and it's like, when I was a kid, I remember being in Toys R Us, and I remember seeing, like, take Ninja Turtles, for example, like Ninja Turtles coming out, and we wasn't very well off. We didn't have like a lot of money when I was growing up, and I never got a Donatello. I got the other three, but I never got a Donatello, and I got a knockoff one off like one of the markets in London, and it never looked the same. The plastic's head fell off. Like, you couldn't hold the weapons.
Donatello or something like that.
Yeah. It was like, you know, but whatever. But, you know, you kind of grow up, and the people spending the money now, like, they've got adult money, like, and it's those same kids that looked at the back of boxes and kind of went, these are all the figures I want, but I know in reality I'm going to have one, or I'm going to have two. And now they've grown up and they've got adult money, and they've got, like, you know, and that's where a lot of the toy industry has kind of been kept alive, because for kids nowadays, like, I remember having a Ninja Turtle toy, for example, and I played with that for years. You know, I was into that, and that was my figure or whatever, or my He-Man figures, and I've played with them for years. Whereas kids now, you know, fidget spinners, you know, they come out and they play with them for 20 minutes, and then everyone's got one, and then no one wants one. And then recently it was all the pop things, wasn't it? And it was kind of like, you know, everyone needed all these pops, and like, oh yeah, buy them here, buy them there, and then all of a sudden they're all gone. You know, and it's that mentality. So the real collecting, the real toy buying is done by the people that are from that generation of going into Toys R Us and looking at the back of boxes, you know, or flicking through the Argos catalogue and circling which ones you wanted. So screw that guy in his comment. He's comment.
Summary.
Yeah, screw that guy. No, but it's true. But it is true. But
here's a glow-in-the-dark duck on wheels.
Oh dear. Right, before this gets too crazy, let's round it up for the week. Obviously, if you enjoy the show, please like, share, subscribe, all of those things. All of the guys' details are in the description below, so do check them out, give them a follow. Ryan's doing the fingers there, that's great. If you are listening on podcasts, it's very much appreciated, and do as well click the links, because our podcast views and listens and stuff are going up, but any support there is obviously much appreciated. And I think that's everything from me, everything from you guys. So until next week, keep it geek.